It's WrestlePod, the Truepenny Show, with your host, James Truepenny.
Hello and welcome to the Truepenny Show. My name is James Truepenny. This is my show, and by God, have we got a show for you today. Today is our favourite podcast of the year. It's the Wrestle Kingdom review, and we've got loads of other things to talk about as well. And to join me today, I have Mr. Alex Edwards. How are you, sir?
Hello, I am pretty hyped up for this one.
I thought you might be. You've had a good week then, being quiet?
Yeah, just standard week, not too much going on. So I think we're probably going to struggle for what to talk about here. But
And also joining us at the moment is Mr. Alex Watt of the BBC.
Oh, no big deal. No big deal. Hello. Thank you for having me on your 6-star podcast.
Hey,
there's a reference.
Oh, we're going to give it plenty of the Meltzer today, certainly. I understand you are sat recording in a dinner jacket and bow tie and practicing your received pronunciation for your new job.
Of course. I do that on every podcast, didn't you know?
Yeah.
I'm always fully suited up for this.
Now, also due to join us today was Chelsea Spollen, but unfortunately she's not very well, so she can't join us today, and we'll have her on soon because we've got lots of Japanese wrestling to talk about, which is one of her favourite subjects. And also Marcus Green, who is also sadly couldn't be with us, but he's going to try and join us as we go through the show, so I will keep an eye out for Marcus and make sure we put him online when we get there. Now, I'm going to start talking a little bit about non-wrestling stuff before we start, because on December the 31st, Rizin Fighting Federation held a MMA card in Tokyo, Japan, and in that card was a lot of professional wrestlers, namely Yumiki Hotta, AJW legend, who took on Gabby Garcia, mixed martial artist of very strong renown. Now, Yumiki Hotta did lose after trying to run the ropes in an MMA match, which is not necessarily advisable, but apparently it scared Garcia to death because she was running the ropes and she had no idea what was going to happen. But the big story as far as we're concerned is, after Hotta was beaten by Garcia in 41 seconds, which is understandable because Gabby Garcia is like one of the best martial artists in the world in her class, and Yumiki Hotta is 50 years old, let's be honest. God bless her heart, but she's 50 years old. She won't going to last long. Garcia was then challenged by one alpha female, Jazzy Gabbert, our friend and former guest on this podcast, who I knew was going to be in Japan for New Year's because she told me. She didn't tell me what she was up to. And when I opened my phone on New Year's Eve morning, all I could see was alpha female, alpha female, alpha female, alpha female on my Twitter feed. So, Jazzy.
That's no joke as well, because you took the screenshot and showed us, and it was literally all over your timeline.
Yeah, it was. And so Jazzy has managed to make herself one of the biggest stars in world MMA with the words, "I'm going to kick your ass," which is really what it's all about. So that was my New Year's Eve. We then went on to World of Sports Wrestling on New Year's Eve as well, which was fantastic. Lots of fun stuff. So the wrestling world was building up quite nicely. How was your New Year's Eve, Alex's?
Mine was good from a non-wrestling point. I got married on New Year's Eve.
Oh,
so,
congratulations, man! We didn't know that.
Yeah, I just slipped that in there. Yeah. So yeah, that's another reason why I only watched World of Sport like a couple of days later, because I had quite a busy time over New Year's Eve.
Mr. Edwards, how did you do?
well, I can't really compare to that now, can I?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I had a good time, watched some wrestling, and yeah, it was good stuff.
Now, after that, we had the build-up to Wrestle Kingdom itself, and not a lot happened in the previous days. Last year, at the same period of time, the big rumour mill was, of course, but AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Doc Gallows, as well as Shinsuke Nakamura, were rumoured to be leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling, and there was none of that this time round. This time round, we seem to have a secure roster who weren't going anywhere, thank the Lord, especially after the card they put together. So let's get to the card itself and to the build-up for the card. Alex Edwards, what were your thoughts on the run into Wrestle Kingdom 11?
So if you go back sort of a month or so ago when the last couple of matches were being made, we were sort of thinking that some of it was a little bit random. So Goto getting the Never title shot was a bit sort of out of nowhere because we expected it to be someone else. namely someone who would return the next day. But no, overall, going into it, once the sort of the pre-show interviews started coming in and you just had Shibata and Goto laying into each other, Shibata basically saying to Goto, when have you ever been good at anything?
Like, Shibata went all in. So all in on him.
And then Naito Tanahashi with that fantastic story of Naito just wanting to just embarrass Tanahashi and force him into retirement was great. And that was something they really played on in the match that we'll get to. Omega and Okada, again, the whole sort of evolution of wrestling versus revolution of wrestling thing they did was really cool. So going into the show, there was a lot of hype around, especially the top sort of 3 or 4 matches.
Right then, Alice, what are your thoughts going into this card? What are your expectations?
Well, high. Like, I think our expectations are always high for Wrestle Kingdom because, you know, how good the in-ring action always is. And I think, like, and shout out to Chris Charlton, who does all the translations of the interviews and stuff, and that got me even more hyped because we were obviously all discussing it, and like we said with the stuff like Shibata was saying about Goto was like really got me a lot more pumped for that match because like he was taking no prisoners in those interviews. And yeah, like the stuff Omega was saying about wanting to take New Japan worldwide and the way he was sort of bigging up that title match for, you know, an American audience or a worldwide audience, if you like, which I think really paid off, which we'll probably talk about a bit more later on, how much buzz was created by the main event. But yeah, going in, I was like super hyped, as I always am, and I would say the card more than lived up to the hype.
Yeah, it was the build-up for this year. I think, how can I put this? This isn't obviously the first time you've had a big build-up for Wrestle Kingdom as far as international discussion is concerned, but you could tell the difference between this year and last year. Last year, everyone was kind of going into the show on a downer because we knew more or less what was happening with Bullet Club and Shinsuke Nakamura, but again, it was building on the momentum really back from Wrestle Kingdom 10 when the international audience was, you know, for the first time legally available, you know, legally allowed to watch live Wrestle Kingdom. And then Wrestle Kingdom built on that momentum with the launch of New Japan World. And you get to Wrestle Kingdom 11 and everyone's talking about it in the wrestling world. You know, flicking around Twitter today, the show is that important. Sasha Banks and Bayley were both talking about it because they were watching it online. You know, this is the show that the world's best wrestlers watch. You know,
well, I think a lot of WWE guys, where there's all sorts of rumors now about like how WWE are basically cacking themselves for WrestleMania because this card was so good. Like whether that's just a dirt sheet thing making it up or if there is legit truth in that, but like particularly the main event, apparently they're like, oh god, we've got to try and do something good now.
I mean, I'd guess at least from like the talent standpoint, they're going to be watching these matches and thinking we've got to try and outshine them somehow. From a sort of, is Vince McMahon watching Wrestle Kingdom standpoint, I'm not sure, but...
No, but I would imagine, like, it wouldn't shock me if people like Triple H are watching it, you know, and know what's going on there. Yeah, I'm not convinced Vince McMahon knows anything that's going on outside of WWE, but I think, like, the rest of the main people probably were paying a lot of attention to this card.
Well, one senior producer of WWE was actually sat front row centre to watch his son wrestle, which was Dave Fit Finlay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We actually saw him. He was on camera on New Year's Dash.
Yeah, so, you know, a legendary New Japan wrestler, one of the best junior heavyweights ever, and certainly left his mark on New Japan wrestling in the 1990s. So, yeah, could have been, you know, Dave could have been quite worried on the trip back, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute, and we'll get to that at the end of the show because there was some interesting comments from Mr. Kodani, who's the current executive director of New Japan Pro Wrestling. But we'll do that after the show because that's all New Year's Dash stuff and press conference stuff. Let's get down to Wrestle Kingdom, and we started the show with a dark match, which was the New Japan Rumble, or Rambo, as we all like to call it, which was won by Michael Elgin, who defeated one of the best lineups for a battle royal in the history of pro wrestling. Billy Gunn, Bone Soldier, Cheeseburger, Hiro Saito, Hiroshi Tenzan, Jushin Thunder Liger, Kinaki Kobayashi, Manubi Nakanishi, Ryosuke Taguchi, Scott Norton, yes, Tiger Mask, Yoshitatsu, and Yuji Nagata. Gentlemen, your thoughts on this? We'll start with Alex Watt.
Yeah, I think it was it was a lot of fun. The Michael Elgin return didn't really see that coming, so that was good. Like, he obviously had big plans for him in 2017 because he came in at number 1 and survived for the whole thing and then won the whole thing. I think the fact that Bone Soldier got eliminated quite quickly was a good thing.
I felt cheated that we never got him and Yoshitatsu in the ring at the same time.
Was that what you were? You've
got invested in this feud far too much now.
Yeah. I think we all have. We've been mocking it for so long that we've sort of secretly become invested, I think.
Well, it's just that this was going to be the last opportunity because Yoshitatsu is now off to CMLL for the rest of the year, I think. So that's it. It's done. It's done. It's over.
It would be harsh to say best place for him. Yeah, it was good. Alex Edwards, what do you think of this shindig?
No, I thought it was a fun match. It's the New Japan Rumble is always sort of the perfect pre-show thing, just to sort of get people ready to watch some wrestling. You don't have to take any of it too seriously. You get to see some legends in there. This year, they've actually used it as a way to push someone as well. In previous years, the winner didn't really get anything, but this year, Michael Elgin won it and then went on to, as I'm sure we'll get into, he challenged the winner of Naito and Tanahashi for their Intercontinental Championship. So, yeah, it was actually put to some use this year to sort of put a shine on someone and present them as someone to look for the rest of the year.
Okay, and joining us on the call now is Mr. Marcus Green. How are you, sir?
Great. Glad to be here. How are you guys?
We're all okay, thank you very much. Just got to the New Japan Rumble, Marcus. What did you think of that opening match?
I thought it was a cool opener. Saw some a lot of great folks in there. Shout out to Billy Gunn, looking better than most 20-year-olds in the business. And like I said, Norton was a great, cool seeing him. And of course, it came down to the Big Mike and Cheeseburger, which was hilarious. But great win for Big Mike, and it was a real cool opener. Like I said, we talked about it on Twitter, but I mean, the way they paced the show and just how the matches went, it all was a build. So I think the way they did that Rumble in particular, it was comical, it was serious, but it was a great way to kick off the show.
Yeah, I have to say about Scott Norton, I was so happy to see Scott Norton join the Rumble. It was like, this is awesome, this is amazing, and getting to see the showdown between him and Michael Elgin was cool, like Generation 1 versus Generation 2 of big muscle guy. That was awesome. Yeah, and there's also, if you want proof that Scott Norton was born to be a New Japan wrestler, he was, just because he looks just as good now as he did 25 years ago. I love Scott Norton. He's awesome. And just on a side note, of course, Ben Spindler, who can't stand Scott Norton, was the reason why he didn't want to watch this show was because Scott Norton was on it. So
Oh wow!
That's how much he dislikes Wrestle Kingdom. It was that, and because Toriano was on it as well. Scott Norton and Toriano. I'm never watching that show," said Ben. Well, there you go. But okay, he's missing out. And I'm sure he's listening to this, so sorry, Ben. Anyway, we'll move on to the next match, which was a Tiger Mask anime match. Tiger Mask W, accompanied by Suzuko Mimori, who's a voice actress on the show, and defeated Tiger the Dark in 6 minutes and 34 seconds. What do we think of this, guys? Start with Alex Edwards.
Yeah, it was a fun sort of 6-minute match. I found it funny that both guys weren't trying to hide their real identities at all. They just did a standard match using all their regular moves, all their regular sort of mannerisms and taunts, and it was funny to see for what it was. I still don't think the costumes they had would be very easy to wrestle in. The masks especially look a bit dodgy. But no, the match itself was fun. It was fine. Yeah.
Marcus, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree with Alex. I wasn't exactly familiar with the anime, but it was cool to see if any prior knowledge, and I was just coming into the show watching that match. Definitely would have caught my attention. Obviously, like you said, it wasn't a long match by any means, and when I found out who those wrestlers were, it all made sense. Yeah, it was a cool little match. And like I said, it caught the eye, and if I was just coming into the show off that match, it was also a cool opener. So, kudos to those wrestlers. Some pretty decent stuff in the time that they was allotted for that match.
Alex, what did you think?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it did what it needed to. It was a fun opener. It was strange because obviously this opened the card properly. It was strange not to see the junior tag titles open the show. Normally the Bucks are walking out first.
Where was my sort of 10-way junior match to start?
Yeah. It was just weird not to see the Bucks walk out first. Like almost like tradition now because they've done it for so many years on the bounce. So, but yeah, I watched the whole show with my friend, and he obviously didn't know who the guys were. I was like, you'll probably recognize this guy once he starts doing his moves, and once he did the triangle moonsault, the golden moonsault, it's like, oh right, it's a Bushi. So yeah, like we said, I don't know what this means for that guy going forward, but be interesting to keep an eye on.
Just before we started recording, Enohito on Twitter, who's a sort of relatively well-known Japanese wrestling Twitter guy, he posted that Kota Ibushi had just tweeted, "I found it." So I don't know if that's a reference to something potentially in the future here. I don't know.
Interesting. So you see,
cryptic.
Yeah, and we can put portents in there because around about this time, Minoru Suzuki tweeted out, "Let's see what tomorrow brings," which we'll get back to later in the show. Talking about the Tiger Mask anime, which is something New Japan have really got into this week as well. They launched 2 new characters, one of whom doesn't at all look like Becky Lynch, and the other one doesn't at all look like Charlotte Flair. So there's an interesting point for you. So yeah, we should
probably also say that Tiger the Dark was ACH as well.
Yes, we should do because we didn't. Yeah, Kota Ibushi's Tiger Mask W, ACH was Tiger the Dark. So just to clear that up for you, there's so many sides with this show. It's all a bit whoa. We've got loads of things to link in with this. Right, we'll move on to match 3 because otherwise we're going to be here all day. Roppongi Vice defeat the Young Bucks for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship in 12 minutes and 57. And I know this didn't get as much kudos as perhaps it should have done because of what went on later in the card, but I thought this was the best tag match I've seen in years. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Paid off the story of Beretta and Rocky Romero coming back from adversity. They were falling out all summer long. They've come back to win the tournament. Romero carries the match for himself with Beretta out the ring, and it was a real Rocky Romero showcase show. The Bucks were their usual obnoxious selves. They came in with 4 championship belts, including the Super Kick Party belt they've made for themselves. So they have the PWG, ROH, and IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships and the Super Kick Party Championships. So they were just being horribly vile, as they always are, and I absolutely...
And they also their tights, they had their belts all over their tights as well.
Just so
which was very nice.
Glorifying themselves to the nth degree, and I just absolutely adored this match. Alex, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was tremendous. I don't know if I'd say it's the best tag match I've seen in years, but it was a really great piece of work. Like you say, if it hadn't been for the matches later in the card, I think people would be talking about this a lot more. I think the fact that it was 2-on-2 benefited it a lot, than it being, the mad scramble that it's been in the last few years.
Yeah.
Because they got the chance to tell a story, and it obviously had all the cool spots and stuff, but like you say, the fact that they paid off that story with Romero and Beretta with this time, because obviously it's been Beretta's, it felt like he's been carrying the team, so this time Romero had to step up and survive, and because when Beretta wiped out on that dive, that was a crazy spot in and of itself. There was, again, like because of what happened in the main event, I think people have maybe forgotten that they were doing some pretty crazy stuff in this as well. Like, was it Nick who super kicked one of the young boys, which was a great spot?
It was Harame, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, that was brilliant. But yeah, it did everything it needed to. It was a really great piece of work.
Yeah, I think this throws back. This is a proper Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express, Rockers versus the Brainbusters kind of tag match. That's why I liked it. It reminded me of the tag matches of the 80s and 90s. I think that's probably the reason why I liked it so much.
Also, the finish as well was creative. Like, I like that it was, it wasn't one with like a finisher. It was like the Bucks got cocky and then one of them got rolled up. Basically, it was nice.
Yeah, it's the roll up finish you see on WWE TV every week, but because it's done in New Japan and they did it properly, it looks so much better. But yes, Alex Edwards, what did you think of this?
I really enjoyed this match. I'm not usually a big fan of the Young Bucks, but I thought they were great in this match, and I think it might be one of the best Young Bucks matches I've seen. Yeah, I really liked the story they told here with Rocky and Beretta, having the falling out for the past, 6 months prior to this match, and then finally sort of managing to pull it back together, and Rocky Romero wins it for the team. It was just all-round really good stuff. There was a lot of sort of little interesting spots they did in this match, which I really liked. Like you said, a lot of sort of creative stuff like that finish, which it's weird to say that a roll-up finish is creative, but in this context it is. And yeah, God, I'm surprised Beretta's still walking after that dive to the outside. Like, he just landed straight on his back on concrete from sort of 10 feet up in the air.
Oh.
Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, just vile bump.
But yeah, as for the match, I really enjoyed it, and it set a good pace for the rest of the show when you're starting off with this.
Yeah. Marcus, what did you think?
100% agree with you, gentlemen. Obviously, like Alex W. would say, we were so used to watching the Bucks kick off the show, but it was cool to see them get this spot. Bucks of Youth draped in glory with the belts was great. And like you said, I think the thing that was the biggest takeaway for me coming off this match, as I've been watching more New Japan in recent years, was that it wasn't that scramble like Alex said. I think that definitely made me pay more attention to the match. Like you said, which they actually got a chance to tell a great story. Obviously, taking out Beretta, like you said, and the vet having to kind of stand alone against an onslaught of offense from the Bucks and coming away with the win. So definitely not my favorite match tonight, but it was a great match nonetheless. And it's not like the Bucks were suffering for gold by the end of the night. So it was a great win for Roppongi, and another solid, as Alex said, continuing on the momentum. It was another solid third match.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Rocky Romero, 7 times IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champion and arguably the greatest Junior Heavyweight Tag Team wrestler of all time. So we'll move on to the Never Openweight 6-Man Tag Team Championship, a gauntlet match between Les Honorables de Japón, Bullet Club, and Chaos. This was fun. I liked this. It was quite cool. And I've got some things to say about Les Honorables at the end. They won, which is unsurprising given what's been going on lately. And I just thought this was really cool. It worked really, really well. Alex Edwards, what did you think of this?
This was where the show got a bit weird for me. Like this and then the next couple of matches are sort of where the show sort of took a dip before coming back and becoming amazing in the second half. This match was good for what it was, and I like that LIJ won, but there was some very questionable booking when you have Chaos, the team of Jado, Will Ospreay, and Yoshihashi, who we all thought it would be sort of a 50-50 toss-up between them and LIJ to win. They get eliminated first in 3 minutes by Yujiro. It's like, what are you doing?
To be fair, Jado, the booker, did take the pinfall, though.
I guess, but I don't know. it makes me feel a bit sad for Yoshihashi and Will Ospreay, who have been working so hard all year.
Yeah.
Yoshihashi has had the best year of his career this year. He's been fantastic. And I really thought this would be like sort of his reward to finally win his first title at Wrestle Kingdom. And, you know, maybe they have a run with these belts, but no, they're gone instantly. And I don't know, that sort of put a sour taste in my mouth for the rest of the match. I thought the match was good, but just, I thought the booking of it was a little bit backwards.
I can understand what you're saying there. In fact, the only sloppy thing in the match was Jado, because he did look lost.
Yeah.
And, you know... And
I'm wondering how much of that was that he wasn't originally planned for this match, because when it was originally announced, it was Ishii in Jado's place, and when the whole Noah split happened and Yano came back to New Japan, that all got changed. And I'm wondering if they'd sort of planned all this stuff out that far in advance, and then it all just got changed on sort of a few weeks' notice. And I don't know.
Yeah, it maybe could have been thought out a little better. I still think it was a fun match, though. But yes, Marcus, what did you think of this?
A lot of the same. Fun match. Also confused by the order. Great competitors nonetheless. Obviously, I think Bullet Club had the entrance of the night. But just some. It was some really cool stuff. Obviously, like Alex said, it was a little weird, and like you said, it did seem like Jado was lost at times. Kind of felt out of place at points, but like I said, I think, you know, guys like Ospreay and Hangman Page, who's been doing a great job, look great, and you know, but it was a cool match. Like I said, I didn't have too many problems with it, but like I said, the order in which they kind of had the teams was with the elimination kind of got head scratching, but a decent match nonetheless. Like we said, nothing on this card just sucked at all. So. I appreciated it.
Cool. Just on Yujihiro Takahashi's entrance, I did do some research and found out that Takahashi's model, well, you know, what's the word there? The girls that he comes to the ring with are genuinely models. So, you know, they do that as their day job, not as we originally thought, people from the Bushy Road typing pool. But there you go.
Always get professionals.
Alex, what did you think of this match?
I think this fulfilled the role of the, you know, clusterfuck tag team thing that the juniors vacated. No, I thought the last fall was really good. Like, once the champs came out against LIJ, and afterwards I was kind of thinking maybe they should have just done that as the straight up match, because the first two falls were a little bit forgettable for me.
I think it was just one of those things where they just wanted to get everyone on this card.
Oh yeah, they definitely
this is where
did.
They had to go.
The straight, and to build on what you were saying about strange, you know, booking decisions. Why have Ospreay and Ricochet in the same match but never have them interact? That was a very odd choice, I thought.
Yeah.
Like, given the buzz that they obviously created with the match they had Best of the Super Juniors last year, it seemed like such a bizarre missed opportunity not to have them match up in any way on the biggest card of the year. But yeah, I think the main thing was that LIJ won, but then that will come on to the New Year's Dash issue, because the issue of you know,
the issue. Let's not spoil our own show, but yes.
But yeah, the fact that they won, and that set up, you know, LIJ's big night, which was kind of what I was hoping for when I spoke on the preview, that they should end the night all with gold. Like, and so it was basically agree with what you guys have said, that it was fun, but it was a bit of a mess as well at times. But it wasn't. Yeah, you know, it kept the show chugging along nicely. Anyway,
the one thing I wanted to say about LAJ was they looked so dominant when they won, especially when they dismissed KO, the champions at the end. There, they just looked like wrestling gods. You know, this was it was such a good performance from them. They just look so dominant, like heels are supposed to do. We're just better than you. It's not that we're going to cheat. It's not that we're going to break the rules or we're going to win by intimidation. We're just that good. You know, and
they cheated a little bit.
They cheated a little bit, but it was like watching the Horsemen. It was like watching Arn Anderson and Barry Windham beat down someone for a championship. You know, when they were in proper and full-on mode in the mid-90s and Windham and Anderson could just go in and destroy people. That's what they looked like. You know, it was that kind of level of dominance, which is what they need to be, that kind of dark and brooding team. Right then, we move on to the special singles match, as it was called. Cody M42 versus Juice Robinson. What did we think of this match? We'll start with Marcus, who's obviously been following Cody in his post-WWE days, in his time in TNA and Ring of Honor. What did you think of Cody's performance here as the latest member of Bullet Club? I
liked it. The great debut for Cody Rhodes. Cody, if you will. He looked great. I mean, even, kudos to Juice. I think they did. I think this was the, second shortest match of the night. But, I thought they filled their time well. Some really cool spots in there. Cody looked really aggressive. I was impressed by Juice as well. Coming off of his whole stint in WWE, I was not impressed with anything he did in NXT. So it was cool to see him transition to New Japan to get this time and opportunity to shine and take advantage of, the in-ring time and really show what he can do. So I like what they did. And Cody obviously has a huge year ahead of him. I mean, to be at WrestleMania and then final battle and then kick it off in Wrestle Kingdom, that ain't bad at all. So looking for big things for Cody as he kind of settles into this, this nightmare role.
Yeah. Alex, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was the weakest match on the night, I thought, but it did what it needed to do, which was you introduce Cody, formerly Cody Rhodes, to like a new audience. I think like when he first came out, the crowd weren't that sure. I think he got them not on side, but they knew a lot more about him by the end of the match. I thought Juice Robinson was really good. Like he got more offense in and had more in the match than I was perhaps expecting. I thought it might just be like a squash match, and it wasn't really. It was along those lines, but it wasn't a squash match, if you see what I mean. Juice, I think, has improved loads in the last year, and it was nice that he got to show that off a bit. It just basically did what it needed to do, which was introduce Cody to this new audience.
Alex Edwards, we haven't talked to you about this match yet. What did you think of this match?
I liked this match. I just thought it was the wrong place to do it. I really liked the story they told in it where, you have Cody as the veteran beating down this sort of plucky underdog in Juice Robinson, who I thought Juice Robinson was fantastic in this match. I thought he was really, really good, and I'm really sort of excited to see where he goes for the rest of this year. I think that he's really got something as sort of a really good sort of mid-card babyface, maybe sort of a tag team champion sort of thing. But yeah, I think the main problem was the crowd just wasn't really into it. So reports from a few people who were there live right before this match, the company showed on the big screen a message saying, "Don't forget, merchandise is still available to buy at these places for the next 3 matches." I think that really hurt this match, where you had a lot of people going to buy merch, going to the toilet, whatever else, and not paying attention to this, which it hurt it in a way, because it was noticeably quieter than the rest of the show. Yeah. But I think the match itself was really good. I just think maybe if they'd done this at New Beginning or something like that instead, maybe if it wasn't such a big stage with so much pressure on it, it could have been better. But I really did like the match as it was.
Right then, we'll move on to the singles match for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Adam Cole defeated Kyle O'Reilly in a really, really good match. I really enjoyed this. I thought this was a lot of fun. Kyle O'Reilly going in deep, dark and serious, and he looked like a champion, but didn't win the match. I think it was a surprising title change, because you don't usually get Ring of Honor title changes on other companies' shows, but it showed the importance of Wrestle Kingdom to Ring of Honor now as well. So we'll start with Alex Watt. What did you think of this?
Yeah, well, I wasn't expecting the result at all, but with everything that once you read what was going on behind the scenes, it made a lot more sense. But it was really memorable for the result alone. I enjoyed it as well. Like I think people have been a little bit down on the match, and I thought it was good. I wish they'd had 5 more minutes. It felt like they were trying to cram a lot into. They had just over 10 minutes, I think they worked for. So it felt like they were really, the closing stretch was, being rushed a little bit. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good match. And yeah, for those who don't know, O'Reilly didn't re-sign with Ring of Honor just before Wrestle Kingdom. He was offered a contract and didn't re-sign. So that seems to be why they did the title switch, but it's also like you say, shows the enormity of the occasion as well, which was it made for a historic moment because I thought, to the best of my knowledge, the Ring of Honor titles never changed hands on a show, on a non-Ring of Honor show.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it looks like O'Reilly's probably going to NXT now, by all accounts, which I think is a blow to Ring of Honor and New Japan because they've put a lot of stock in him, Yeah. I think Jado and Gato really like him. Really wanted him to be one of the faces of the junior division. Obviously, him getting to the finals the year before last, wasn't it? The final he had against Kushida, which was tremendous. So it's a shame for them on that front if he does go.
Speaking of contracts, it's also interesting. Adam Cole is also out of contract this year and hasn't re-signed yet either.
I thought he had re-signed.
Has he re-signed? I thought he had not re-signed yet. And
I thought he did as well.
Yeah,
he did re-sign. Okay, well that would make more sense. Yeah. Also, one thing that does fascinate me is 2.5 years ago, Ring of Honor was being dominated by the feud between Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. And Kyle O'Reilly was a bit part player. He was the junior partner, and it just shows you what 2.5 years has done. Now he's the hot property. He's a guy who's having world title matches at Wrestle Kingdom. He's being courted by NXT, and Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards are in TNA. I'm not trying to be down on Davey and Eddie, but it does seem like they took a step backwards, whereas the guy underneath them took several steps forward. So it fascinates me.
Watch the YouTube video that the Elite put up, which is very funny. Because obviously Okada and the Bucks had no titles, and then Adam Cole walks in and is just like, "Oh, but it was a great night because I won." It's very funny, worth checking out. But yeah, sorry.
Speaking of TNA, our resident TNA expert Marcus, what did you think of this particular match?
First, as a little caveat, go back and watch all the Elite video.
Very true.
Very entertaining stuff. But as far as this match, I agree with a lot of basically everything what Alex said. Wish they kind of would have had more time. By no means their best match. They had a far more formidable match, obviously a final battle. And I was definitely shocked by the result because the whole build behind everything with him and Cole has kind of been building to O'Reilly being the champion. So for him to get knocked off, and obviously, like you said, behind the scenes, he didn't resign. So that was kind of a little disheartening because he's been, for the longest in the company, been building to be the champion for a long time, and he finally got his hands on it. But like Alex said, it set the stage for a huge moment, also the title change on Wrestle Kingdom, which is great, like James said, for between the company relations and all that, and obviously Cole becoming the first ever 3-time Ring of Honor World Champion.
Yeah.
But I did appreciate the match for everything they did. Obviously, two great competitors. But I definitely didn't see this result coming, and it sucks that O'Reilly is probably gone. So, but cool match nonetheless.
Alex Edwards, what did you think of this?
I mean, I think this is another one that was really hurt by the crowd reaction. I thought the match was okay. I really like Kyle O'Reilly. I don't quite get Adam Cole. I'm not sure what people see in him. To me, he's just a guy. I don't really see it, but I don't know, maybe I'm just missing it. But yeah, I thought the match was fine. I just think, again, the crowd really didn't care about it at all. And another sort of side note report from people who were there live. During this match, Masa Chono just decided to sort of walk in through the front door of the stadium and start walking through the crowd to the commentary desk for his commentary spot for the next few matches. And so you just had a massive crowd of people crowding around Masachono instead of paying attention to this match.
Yeah,
which is a little bit of a dick move on his part. But
yeah, but he's Masachono.
But yeah, I think this is another one like the Cody and Juice match, which was hurt by the crowd reaction. And it was sort of, again, I guess these couple of matches were treated as sort of the interval for the show when there wasn't actually an interval. So yeah, I mean, it was fine, but the crowd hurt it, I think.
Yeah, there's another reason why Ben Spindler wouldn't watch this show, because Masahiro Chono was on commentary. Don't know why. But bringing it back to the beginning, good friends with Jazzy Gabbett, because his wife's German. There you go. Anyway, moving on. The next match, I have to say, but after that match, the then Ring of Honor World Champion would be Adam Cole.
Baby.
There you go. I missed that at the beginning. I had to get it in. All right, then. The next match was the three-way match for the IWGP Tag Team Championship. And speaking of rushed booking, this was a victim of that by a long streak. As Alex Edwards rested on earlier, the Noah talent swap agreement ended rather abruptly, and therefore a lot of New Japan wrestlers had to be written back into the New Japan storyline in a tearing great hurry. And one of those was Toru Yano, who spent the last year as a tag team in a tag team with Naomi Marufuji in Noah, and had a great run as the GHC Tag Team Champions. And then he comes back to New Japan and has to have something to do. So they teamed him up with Tomohiro Ishii, and they chucked him in the IWGP Tag Team Championship match. And it worked very, very well, I thought. It was, again, a little short, but it was probably the best tag team outing that we had out of Guerrillas of Destiny and GBH, and they both have reasons to come back at Chaos because, well, it's Yano, and he won by cheating. So there you go. This was panic booking at its best, and it worked really well. We'll start with Alex Edwards on this one, because I know he's probably got something to say, quite a bit to say about this match.
I really enjoyed it. So Guerrillas of Destiny have really improved over the last sort of 2-3 months. Prior to that, they were very sort of bland and boring, but they've really stepped up their game and become something that I'm really sort of excited to watch their matches. GBH is a team that's always been sort of, they've always been good. They've always been sort of a solid team to put into a match. And Ishii and Yano are fantastic with each other. Ishii is the perfect straight man for Yano, because Yano does all his shtick. He steals the belts, he steals the trophies, he runs around doing all this weird stuff. And then Ishii's just there like, I don't give a shit, I don't care, I'm just going to punch you. So yeah, I think they work well as a team, and I'm happy that they won in the end, even if it was in sort of a sort of, low blow roll up kind of way. I think one of the funniest things about this match was the build up to it, where at the so they did a fan convention the day before Wrestle Kingdom, where they had sort of a bunch of guys come out and do interviews about their matches. And Togi Makabe at that event cut one of the best promos, where he turns to Guerrilla of Destiny, he's like, "You pieces of shit, listen to what I've got to say." Turns to Yano, "What the f*** do you think you're doing with those belts? Give them back." And then Yano reaches into the ring and steals GBH's tag league trophies and runs away. Yeah, I thought this was a good sort of change of pace to sort of get the crowd back into things for the rest of the show, where you had sort of a bit of comedy. You had some actual really good wrestling in here from everyone except Yano. And yeah, I enjoyed it overall. I also liked the entrance video that Yano had, so his thing going into this was that he's the X for Wrestle Kingdom. He's the mystery man, even though there wasn't a mystery. But his sort of gimmick for the past few Wrestle Kingdoms has been that he's always had sort of a mystery tag partner. And the entrance video he had sort of ran through that, where it showed little clips of all the mystery partners he's had up to this point, and I thought that was a nice little touch. But yeah, overall, this match, I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was fun, and I'm happy that we have it's sort of a resurgence in the tag division, which was really sort of dead last year. But we've now got, you've got 3 solid teams here. You've got 2 solid Japanese teams here, which is, I think, always an important thing. And then we'll get to New Year's Dash later, where there's even more being put into this tag division, which I think it's looking like it's going to be an interesting few months for the tag teams.
Definitely, I completely agree. And Togi Makabe is an underrated promo, especially when he promos in English, because it's usually just swear words.
I think I've heard that that's the same in Japanese as well. He just can't get through a sentence without swearing.
Marcus, what did you think of this?
The quote Alex Watt, this was probably the cluster of the night for me. Just because it felt like at times, other than the Gorillas of Destiny, the other 2 teams kind of blended together at times, it felt like.
Yeah.
But maybe that's part of that's because I'm not as used to those watching those competitors as you guys are. But I really like everything the Gorillas of Destiny are doing. Like Alex said, it was a solid match. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. But I think the biggest takeaway for me coming out of this was the whole thing with Tonga Roa cursing up a storm. And just Steve Corino literally having to cut off his mic so we wouldn't hear him laughing. And then he turned it back on and he was still laughing. So most of the match, I just found myself just laughing along with him and just looking at Tonga Roa shaking my head. But,
that was something that Juice Robinson does a lot as well, where he just, everything he does, he's like, motherfucker!
It was just it was insane. But like I said, I appreciated the match for what it was, and I think those 3-way tag belts kind of change hands regularly, if I'm not mistaken. So it kind of went along with the theme of the night, and also continuing on. I mean, the title changed. What was that? How many title changes have we had before that?
1.
I think that they all
2?
changed hands apart from the co-main and the main, didn't they? So
yeah.
So that's 6, 7.
Yeah, so that continued the theme of the night. But yeah, definitely I appreciate it for what it was, but it was kind of the cluster of the night for me.
Alex, what were your thoughts on this?
I really liked it. It was so funny. Steve Corino. I don't know if you guys listen to the English or the Japanese commentary on the show.
I switched, but yeah.
Yeah, he completely lost it at Tangaroa and Makabe, because Makabe was doing it as well, and they were just swearing their tits off basically, and he just completely lost his cool and just laughed for most of the match, which was quite funny. Like the match itself, I think it was a bit of a waste of Ishii, which was a shame. Like, I would have liked to see him in a featured bout, but pretty much echo what you guys have said. Like, the match, I think a lot of it was building on what Gorillas of Destiny and GBH had done in the Tag League final, so they carried the bulk of it, and then Ishii would run in and lariat everyone, and then Yano would do his Yano stuff, basically. But Gorillas of Destiny, like, the improvement they've made in the last few months alone has been insane. Like, they're like a really reliable team now all of a sudden for putting on great tag matches. And like Alex said, the future of that division, which is one that we've been a little bit down on in recent years and worried about, particularly once Guns and Gallows left as well. That left a big hole there. It's looking exciting, the future of the division. And I really enjoyed the match, though. I think it was really good. Yeah,
I mean, Gorillas of Destiny, I've just learned so much in the last even 6 months. Like, that run with the Briscoes really did them so much good. They learned pacing, they just got tighter as a team, they're really thinking on the feet, and it's just so well put together. But yes, Chaos, Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano take the IWGP Tag Team Championships, which bodes well for the future. Speaking of the future, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship was defended by Kushida, but he lost to Hiromi Takahashi of Los Ignorables de Japón in a really, really, really good match. These last 4 matches we are going to talk a lot about because they are just absolutely phenomenal, and this starts the golden run to the end of the card. It wasn't the best of the 4, but it set the stage for what the other 3 were going to be like. We'll start with Alex Watt. What did you think of this one?
Yeah, like just the 4 match of the year candidates. This was so good. I loved this so much. Like, Kushida and Takahashi obviously have great chemistry in the ring, and like this was the first time that they'd obviously had the singles clash. They'd worked in tags, and it was it was just really well put together in terms of this was obviously Takahashi's moment to like and become like the next big guy, and Kushida did really well, like making him look like $1,000,000 basically, and beating him for the title. Like obviously some of the crazy dives to the outside and the spots they were doing, but they were telling like a really good story. And the extended bit where Kushida had Takahashi in the hoverboard lock and Takahashi was fighting it was like so good. Like I was grimacing the whole time because they were doing it so well, and built the drama so brilliantly. So yeah, just a fantastic match and the right outcome as well. Like this sets up the division for an exciting 2017. Yeah. And also great boots on both guys as well, it must be said.
I actually did think Kushida was going to win it when he couldn't get out of the hammerlock. I thought this was it, but no.
Yeah, the drama they built there, it was just like that was so brilliantly done.
So well sold and such a good story. Alex Edwards, what did you think of this?
Hiromu Takahashi has quickly shot up to become my favourite junior and one of my favourite guys in the whole company. He's just so good. His sort of the character work in this match especially was fantastic, where he just shows no disregard for anyone's safety, especially his own. Just like Alex said, the dives he was doing where it was just again just like sentons to the outside, landing on his back on the floor. It's just like, or just the tease of that power bomb off the apron again. There was just a lot of things in here which were really brutal to watch, but really added to it. Even when they botched a move where Takahashi went for a Hurricanrana to Kushida, sort of over the ropes to the outside, and Kushida didn't quite get over the ropes, and it sort of looked a bit weird. It actually worked for the match because it just further establishes Takahashi as just this crazy guy who's just going to throw himself around and do whatever he can to just hurt someone else and not care about his own safety. It's just, he's really, really good. And yeah, the spot, like you were saying, where Kushida had the hoverboard lock on for ages and ages and ages, and Takahashi's struggling, refusing to give up again because he just doesn't care about his own body. He's just not going to lose this match. It was so good. And when watching this match, I really started to think, with this match being so good, are the rest of the matches on this show going to be able to live up to it? Because I really, really enjoyed this match. And yeah, I guess we'll see what happens later in the card. But no, I thought this was fantastic.
Marcus, what did you think of this? I know you're a big Kushida fan. Were you disappointed to see him lose the belt?
Yeah, definitely. But he's it felt like he's kind of been synonymous with that belt for a while now. Obviously, like Alex said, really, 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 really good match. I'm not as a big a fan of Takahashi. Obviously, I appreciate everything he does. Very aggressive guy. I've seen a lot of his stuff in ROH. And I really felt like, coming out of the match, it really just felt like these guys, it got to a point where he was trying to kill Kushida at times. And a lot of cringeworthy spots in this match, but great stuff from both men. Obviously, it sets the stage. I think this whole show's kind of set the stage for a lot of great stuff coming in the year. But a great match. It really set the tone for what we was going to get for the rest of the show, which was bananas. But, just kudos to both men. Those ice packs were damn well earned after this match. I liked it. And, Kushida has obviously, I think, a lot can be said that he kind of kicked off Omega's run.
Yeah.
Because had he not beat him, we obviously wouldn't have got that great stuff from him. But, definitely fans of both guys and looking forward to seeing what else, they bring throughout the year. But, Takahashi, like Alex said, is rising to be one of the best on the show. I just haven't clicked with him yet, but probably just because I just got to watch more of him.
I tweeted this at the time. Yeah, Kelly and Carino said that Jushin Thunder Liger is Kushida's biggest fan. I was like, I think Marcus might have something to say about this.
Yeah. Great tweet.
to the Never Openweight Championship, where Hiroki Goto, in the performance of his life, defeated Katsuyori Shibata for the championship in 16 minutes and 17 seconds. Shibata was off the page good, but Goto was just incredible. This was ridiculously good. And on any other card, at any other time, in any other place, it would have been a Match of the Year candidate. However, there was so much cool stuff yet to come. But this match was just actually showed how good Goto can be and paid off all that character work he's done all year. The story of him not getting his redemption has finally been closed, and now he looks forward to doing more and getting on with his career, having had the hang-ups of the last 2 years. Alex Watt, what did you think of this?
It was violent, wasn't it? As expected. Yeah, it was. Yeah, we've obviously touched on it, how much in the interviews beforehand Shibata was sort of putting down Goto and having a go about his lack of passion, basically, and whether he's motivated. So obviously in this one, Goto was fully motivated. They told that story really well, and these two always work well together, like, because they're both nutters, I think. So yeah, it was really good. The fact that Shibata kicked out the shooting Kai was insane as well. And then Goto had to I think he did like a reverse GTR and then a regular GTR to pick up the win. Like he had to. Yeah. They obviously told the stories they always do that these two were going to have to basically kill one another before one of them would stay down. I don't know why people still insist on kicking Shibata when he's on the ground. Like, it never ends well.
It's meditation almost, yeah.
Yeah. Just makes him stronger, I think. And like you say, another Match of the Year candidate, and for me, probably the weakest of the four, which is mental, because like on any other card, like this would be like clear Match of the Year, but just because there was so much good stuff on this card. Yeah, but yeah, it was tremendous.
Alex Edwards, what did you think of this match?
Yeah, as Alex said, this match was amazing. Goto in this match, I think this may have been the best match I've ever seen Hiroki Goto have. Like you were saying, the character work over the past year building up to this, and then he just gave this his all. It was brutal, it was violent, and it was fantastic. I think the finishing sequence, the finishing sort of 2 minutes in this match is one of the best endings to a match I've seen in a long time. Just both laying into each other. They've both been beaten down for the past 15 minutes, and they're laying into each other with these horrible strikes, and then that reverse GTR into the regular GTR. I thought he'd broken Shibata's neck. It was insane. And yeah, I thought this may have actually, I want to say this was my second favourite match of the night, but then I'm thinking back again to that junior heavyweight championship match, and I'm not sure. It's crazy to think that you can watch this and then not be sure if it was the best match of the night or not. Yeah. Oh, actually, not even that. You're debating whether it's the second best match or not. It's ridiculous. But no, this was a really amazing match.
This was violent with a capital fucking hell.
Oh, you need to tweet that.
Marcus, what did you think of this?
I mean, I couldn't agree more with you, gentlemen. This was definitely my second favorite match of the night, exactly for the reasons that James stated coming off. I think Hiroki Goto gave a performance of his life. I think he's definitely one of my favorite characters to watch in New Japan. Just everything from his presentation, his entrance, and the way he performs and all that. Obviously, Shibata is an absolute stud. And for him to go at the level that he does with just the level of injuries that he occurs is just it's insane. But I mean, like I said, he's Shibata. That's what he's known for. But I mean, like you said, it was brutal, it was violent, but it was great. That finishing sequence was amazing. And like I said, Goto is one of my favorite characters to watch. And I think, but besides just overall match, with Goto, like you said, the story of him kind of finally getting redemption, you saw and felt when he kicked into that second or third gear in the match.
Yeah,
and it really just it was amazing. And like I said, it led to that great finishing sequence. And for us to be debating whether it's the second best match of the night, first off, just thank you, New Japan. It was incredible, and I'm really happy for Goto. to kind of turn this everything around and finally have a really strong year that's not really filled with inconsistency. So hats off to these guys, and yeah, it was everything you wanted. Like you said, on any other card, on any other show, it would be the top match. But obviously, anybody with brains would know that we can't exactly give a match of the night. But incredible show.
And then we move on. Strap yourselves in, folks. We've been talking for an hour and we ain't got to the main event yet. This is serious wrestling. This is as good as it gets. Tetsuya Naito defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship in 25 minutes and 25 seconds in one of the best wrestling matches you will ever, ever, ever see. It was breathtakingly good. It was dramatic. It was insane spots. It was storytelling of the highest order. And if there is any chance that Hiroshi Tanahashi could be considered the best main event wrestler of all time, this is just further evidence that at nearly 40 years old, he can produce matches that just leave you breathless. This was something else. Alex, what do you think of this?
Yeah, they're quite good at the wrestling, these two. Like, Jesus. Yeah, the way Tanahashi lays out his matches is like second to none. Like, he's got to be like I think he is the best main event performer now. I don't think it can be denied. The fact that he's churning out matches like this, like, classics at his age. And yeah, they've got great chemistry in the ring. We've seen that before. They've had great matches. This was their best one they've ever had, which was kind of what we were expecting going in. They, the backstory was so rich, like leading into it. They had so much history, and the video package they aired just before the match was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't speak Japanese, but that was still the better video package than anything WWE's put out for years. Like, because it just told their history so well, and then they brought that into the match. And like we've said on like the end of year podcast, like I think Naito's probably like the best all round guy in the business at the moment. Like, he's, from like the in-ring perspective, from the character perspective, and like that all came together in this one. And yeah, the closing stretch was just something else. And the crowd were losing their shit basically. As like the final few moments, like with Naito having to hit, I don't know how many Destinos he had to hit basically to finally put Tanahashi down, because he hit one basically off the ropes, which Tanahashi barely kicked out of, and then he dragged him to his feet and hit another one. It was like, it was glorious. And I think it was the right guy won. I think, it's something that Tanahashi does so well, of like passing the torch properly to these guys and making them look so good when they beat him. And yeah, Naito will have quite the 2017, I imagine.
Yeah, not afraid to lose in spectacular fashion is Hiroshi Tanahashi, because he knows he's always going to get a chance to come back against them. So, he's...
And like the thing is, like, he looked amazing in defeat. That's the thing. When wrestling's done right like that, there's no losers, which I'm sure we'll discuss in a moment with another match as well.
Yes, definitely. Right then, Alex Edwards, what did you think of this?
This was really, really, really good, wasn't it? No, I mean, so the story going into this match, as we've said countless times, it was a fantastic story of, Naito wanting to retire Tanahashi and, show him up. And I think they both went into this match really presenting that well, where you had Naito being his sort of usual cocky self off the top. And then as the match goes on and he's just hitting move after move and Tanahashi's kicking out and kicking out and kicking out, you just start to see him sort of, you see his mindset change as the match goes on, and it was really well done up until that finish where, as Alex said, I don't know how many Destinos he hit, but finally getting the win in the end, and it was something special. I also thought Tanahashi in this match, he sort of played a heel, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because the crowd was very, very into Naito, and so Tanahashi's a guy who can always adapt to the crowd. He is sort of the biggest babyface in the company, but he can so easily transition into a fantastic heel depending on who he's against. And some of the stuff here where he was like, he'd kick Naito in a certain way, or he like, I don't know. It was just really cool to see two guys at this level being able to play off each other so well. The only down point of this match that I can think of is, what the hell is up with Tanahashi's new entrance music?
Yeah,
That
I would say the same thing.
I was so disappointed when they've hyped it up for the last month of Tanahashi's going to have new music, he's going to have a new look, he's going to have a new character, a new attitude. And then he comes out to whatever that was, that Goei thing. His gear is exactly the same. His hair is exactly the same. His character is exactly the same until we get into the match where he starts to play slightly a bit more heelish, which I liked. But yeah, what was up with that? But no, then you get into the match, and the match was amazing and made up for it. But yeah.
It was a bit comedy post-hardcore. Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's a bit, it's nice, just not as good as the last one. So why did you change it? Marcus, what did you think of this wonderful match?
Again, I gotta agree with my fellow cohorts on this. I thought it was great. The only bad thing you could take away from it was Tanahashi's music, because it didn't go with the prestige of someone of Tanahashi's caliber. But yeah, I mean, two great performers, like Alex Watts said. The video package for this, not even knowing anything Japanese, it told everything. And you come into this match, and obviously everything on the finishing half of this show was taken care of in the ring. I mean, it was all four matches we're talking about here, fantastic. But I like the story they told with Tanahashi attacking the opposite leg of Naito, and obviously, like I said, the setup for Naito being the MVP and Tanahashi being the ace, the level of disrespect that Naito was shown versus the honorable one in Tanahashi is just perfectly set up, and that finishing stretch was great as well. Like Alex said, how many Destinos did he hit? And it was a great, again, the momentum that picked up in the show towards the end, which was an explosion of incredible epicness. But yeah, I mean, two great competitors, and obviously, like you said, Tanahashi has no problem taking the L, and it's going to be interesting seeing exactly where he goes from here. But just a fantastic match.
Yeah, just breathtakingly good, and everything the IC Championship has been in the past. You look at this slot in previous years, they had to live up to Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. Mm-hmm. It had to be better than that. It couldn't be as good. It had to be better than that. Just there was no way. If you've lost those two stars, you have to have that championship belt do something really, really special, and it did. So absolutely expectations met and probably surpassed with that match. And absolute kudos to both guys. It was just beautiful to watch.
And something else I want to quickly mention is the post-match bit where, so in interviews leading up to this, Naito sort of used the phrase he wants to nail the final nail into like Tanahashi's career. And you saw after the match, Naito goes up to the sort of knocked out Tanahashi, and he sort of taps him on the chest as if he's hammering a nail into his heart. And then he does the LIJ sort of
salute
pose. Yeah. And then he steps back and he bows to Tanahashi. And it's just like stuff like that where you have this character his character is that he's like this cocky prick, but then he sort of, after having a match like that, he shows the respect that his opponent deserves. Yeah. And it was something special to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
And then straight after he throws the belt up in the air again.
Exactly.
Just to remind everyone.
I'm a dick. Yeah. And then we get to the main event for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship in 46 minutes and 45 seconds. Kazuchika Okada defeated Kenny Omega of Bullet Club in a main event I find hard to describe how good it was. There are some detractors to this, not many, but this was a match that has got the whole wrestling world talking from obscure wrestling journalists from websites around the world to ESPN to Sainsbury's, Tesco's and Wendy's. This is the match that has blown the internet apart and was absolutely phenomenal. And if we learnt anything, it is never let go of the wrist. Marcus Screen, what did you think of this match?
Obviously I knew we was coming to this show, and I was trying to, we talked about it on Twitter and stuff and kind of gave our immediate thoughts, but I was trying to think of what I could say, but besides just telling people to go back and watch this match, and after, talking with you guys about this great show, definitely go back and watch some of this stuff. But I think the greatest compliment I could give this match is I've had to go back. I've not gone back and watched it in its entirety. So I've had to watch it back in highlights because I can't emotionally go through that again. It was insane. Obviously these two top competitors, the year Omega's had, it's just been, bananas, and him basically saying, he's good, I'm better, I could take this company to new heights. Those great interviews he, did beforehand, just basically calling out the industry, really. And really trying to set himself apart. Everything in this match was just, pure gold, insane spots. Particularly, just great stuff from Omega with that golden triangle moonsault. That insane table spot. I don't think people really appreciate the timing and the accuracy of which he hit that table, because any further and he would have hit that rail, and that could have just been a disaster. Yeah. But and I don't know how many damn knees he hit Okada with. That guy should really get his head checked out. I hope he got his head checked out after the match. This was everything you wanted in a wrestling match. These guys. You can't give enough praise to this match. From start to finish, everything, the emotional turmoil that they took you through, the physical toll that they put themselves through. It was all encompassing, and like I said, I've had to watch it in highlights because I can't take myself to go through that again emotionally. But it was everything you want a match to be, and you have to go back. If you haven't watched this match, you have to go watch it. Absolutely. Match of the year candidate. You would expect nothing less coming out of this show. Wrestle Kingdom always sets the standard for the beginning of the year, and I don't know if we could do enough justice, but I'm gonna hand it off to you gentlemen now.
Well, just look at it this way. In 2017, we've seen every wrestling move that's possibly ever been devised. Probably. There's probably more you can do. But the fact that this match had a backdrop in it that has got everybody in the world talking about it. Just a backdrop. Now, it was a very special backdrop, don't get me wrong, but it's just a backdrop. And you can just light the world up with how you do that backdrop and how you land on that backdrop, which, wasn't the softest landing in the world, obviously, from a very great height. But it was just so simple, and it just did it so well. And obviously, I'm hoping Kenny's all right after all that, because it was a very hard bump to land with, and that was enough. That was one bump, you could have done the entire match with. But it was just phenomenal. Alex, what did you think of this?
Where to begin? It's got to be one of the best matches that I've ever seen. Like I said, I watched it even the evening after it had aired. Very glad I stayed unspoiled as well, because I don't remember the last time I screamed so much watching a wrestling match. Like you said, we've seen pretty much everything that can be done in a wrestling ring, and I've watched wrestling for so many years. The fact that I was out of my chair, my voice had gone by the end. When the crazy spots as well, the dragon suplex off the top, which was nuts as well. To even think of doing that. And when Omega kicked out of the Rainmaker, I was they had me fully. I was out of my chair, just oh my god.
Was that the first time someone's kicked out of the Rainmaker as well?
I think it's
or did Tanahashi do it last year?
Naito and Tanahashi have both done it, but I think that alone tells you everything. I think it was the fact, I don't know if anyone's done it where because he hit the tombstone, then hit the Rainmaker, which is like puts everyone down. So the fact that he kicked out of that and it took like a jumping tombstone into the Rainmaker to finally finish him off, like with most matches, you kind of go, the last 5 minute sequence was insane. This was like the last 20 minutes or so was just like, absolutely nuts. Like the counters and the pace they were keeping up as well. Like, I know they're both absolute specimens, but it was just like how they were keeping up that pace at the end. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know if there's enough superlatives we can say about this. Even like, I don't know if you're going to mention the Dave Meltzer thing, but like the fact that he's given it 6 stars. He basically said Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada may have put on the greatest match in pro wrestling history. Like that's high praise.
It is indeed, yeah.
I don't know if it's the greatest match ever, but it's the greatest match I've seen in a long time. Like I actually went back and watched Omega and Naito again from last year, which was my match of the year. I think it was Alex's match of the year as well.
Yeah.
Just to be like, was it as good? Like, you know, I watched that. I was like, yeah, it's even better than this match, which I thought was insane. Like, I don't know how Omega's topped that one. I didn't think it was possible to top what he did with Naito, but he did.
There was some criticism of this match, and one of the criticisms was the lack of selling time that Okada had, because Kenny was on him all the time, and Okada didn't always get time to sell, which I guess was true, but that's a quibble, I think, in comparison to what happened in the rest of the match. And I'm erring towards it just being superb. Alex Edwards, what did you think of this match?
It's up there with sort of Okada Tanahashi, Undertaker Shawn Michaels. Mm-hmm. It's up there among the best matches of all time. This was ridiculously good. You mentioned there about the sort of lack of selling by Okada. I think it actually, if you look at the story of the match, that can be sort of explained. Sort of, if you look at it as it's these two guys that they know this is the biggest match they're ever going to have, and they're both giving it their all. And as I said earlier, they have the story of Okada wanting to evolve New Japan's sort of wrestling style, and Kenny Omega wanting to sort of revolve it and make it sort of a more international thing. And you have both of them wanting to completely change wrestling as a whole and giving it everything they have. I think that can sort of explain it. This was just, I can't even think of words to explain how good this match was. Even down to the Young Bucks being there at ringside and I'm not going to shit on them or anything. I thought they were fantastic. I thought because they took it so seriously, and they were there supporting their friend, and there was so much sort of emotion put into it, where the only thing they did all match was set up a table, and that was it. And then they just cheered on their friend who was having the fight of his life. And I thought it was just, this was sort of great storytelling done through the medium of wrestling.
Yeah.
It was just fantastic. And some of them, as we said, some of the moves, the Dragon Suplex where Okada lands right on his head, and it looked like his hand sort of bent all the way back as well. It looked really horrible. And then you have the back body drop with Omega landing on the edge of that table, which didn't break properly, and he looks like he could be paralyzed. And it's just, even down to like Okada doing a running crossbody into the crowd. It's just ridiculous stuff that I don't even know how to explain how much I loved this match. It was just fantastic. I think Okada hit maybe like 4 or 5 Rainmakers in this match, and it took that much to be able to put Omega down. But one thing I really liked is they protected Kenny Omega so well, because even though he teased the one-winged angel so many times, he never actually hit it.
Yeah, never hit it.
And so you have that story of Okada...
Move away. Yep.
Exactly. Okada couldn't put Kenny down until like he gave it literally everything he physically could. But Kenny Omega still has the fact that if he'd managed to hit that move, he would have won. And so that, that's the perfect story for a rematch out of it. It's just, it perfectly protects Kenny Omega because his big move is still the big move. And yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, this was the perfect match at the perfect time, featuring the perfect people. This was so well done. Just so well done. And just opens up so many doors for New Japan Pro Wrestling, as literally everyone's talking about it. This is one of those legendary matches that in 3 or 4 years' time we'll be looking back at, and be going, this is the match that set them on the path to where they are now. I
think even in 10 years' time, we'll be looking back at this match as that was something really, really special.
Yeah, it's just going to be phenomenal for New Japan Pro Wrestling, just to get the amount of coverage that they've got this week. RJ Singh was tweeting about it last night. I was sending a message, sent him a tweet back saying, I'm going to get this all week, aren't I? As people slowly catch up. There is an advantage not being on in prime time, is that because so many people haven't seen it and they hear so many good things, then you get that ongoing presence, not just like the big splurge in one go, which is really advantageous in New Japan in this particular time period because of what's happened later in the week. Now, Wrestle Kingdom as a show was absolutely fantastic. As we said, those last 4 matches were just off the page good. And what happens after Wrestle Kingdom is a show called New Year's Dash, which is the next day, which is phenomenal for some of those wrestlers because Okada apparently looked a bit rough and ropey, as you can imagine after being dropped on his head from 15 feet up.
Completely bandaged up. His throat was covered in a massive black and blue bruise. He looked horrible.
Yeah, this year's New Year Dash features some surprises. Now, not me and Alex. I don't think you've seen it either, have you, Marcus?
No, I haven't.
No, so there's only Alex Edwards who's watched it out of all of us, but we wanted to talk about it because there's a couple of things that happened that are really important. So we best tell you. Obviously, the most important thing was that Team 2000 reformed with Hiro Saito, Hiroshi Tenzan, Satoshi Kojima, and Scott Norton, joined by Cheeseburger as the latest member of Team 2000. For those of you who don't know, Team 2000 was essentially a faction born out of the NWO in the late 1990s when basically what happened was Masahiro Chono spent about a year trying to get Keiji Muto to join the NWO. He did. Then Muto went off for neck surgery. Chono went off for neck surgery. Muto took over the NWO and turned it face. So when Chono came back, he wasn't very happy and he started Team 2000. And members of that were Scott Norton, Satoshi Kojima, Hiroshi Tenzan, and Hiro Saito. So when they reformed in the tag match at New Year's Dash, they reformed with Cheeseburger and reformed Team 2000 as a one-off. I presume they're not doing this going forward. And also on that particular card was the Never Openweight 6-Man Championship, which was lost by Bushi, Evil, and Sanada one day after they won it.
Horrible.
Yeah, not a fan of this.
To Raisuke Taguchi, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Maybe them two deserve something. They both work really hard. And Lumpy himself, Manubi Nakanishi. So,
favorite wrestler.
Alex, what do you think of this particular comeuppance?
So, why have they done this on several levels? So, basically, it's the long and short of it. So I thought, first of all, LIJ should be getting a long title reign with those belts because you've got the story of the fact of having all the gold. And they've just won them at Wrestle Kingdom. I know they hot potato the belts a lot. I get that, and they'll probably win them back soon. But just for them to lose it the next night was so. I know they want it in New Year's Dash on a high note. I get that. Like they want a babyface win at the end of the show, but it just felt a bit pointless from that angle. And plus, Tanahashi, it felt like telling the story of this is, the fallen ace. Can he still, perform at the level he used to, kind of thing? And he went into the Naito match at Wrestle Kingdom being like, I've lost this fire. I've had like a bad year basically with injuries and winning big matches, and I need to get back to being the best. And then he loses the Naito match, which is a really well told story. But then the next night he just wins the championship, which seems to, crap all over this exciting story they could have told in 2017.
Yeah, no, I think that's understandable. Alex Edwards, what did you think of this?
I mean, I would have liked to see LIJ get a longer reign, but again, I understand, they want to end on a babyface win and all that stuff, but I don't know, I think it's not worth sacrificing having LIJ look strong and dominant just to have a babyface win at the end of this show. I think that LIJ, after Wrestle Kingdom especially, are essentially babyfaces now.
Yeah.
I think especially Naito, as they've made that turn, and so having them win here wouldn't have been such a bad thing. And then, Nakanishi, I mean... So, did any of you guys see the... going into Wrestle Kingdom, they did a Road to Wrestle Kingdom show where they had Nakanishi against Yuji Nagata in a singles match.
No?
Okay.
I didn't see that. No, sorry.
That match... Okay, so that match, you see it on paper and you think that's going to be terrible. Like, they're not going to be able to do anything. But they went for a good sort of 10, maybe 15 minutes, and they had a really, really good singles match. And that really made me sort of turn the corner on Nakanishi, where when given the ball, he can run with it if needed. And so maybe this is sort of a little, sort of congrats for that, a little reward to give him a title. But I just don't think it's worth sacrificing having LIJ look strong. It just seems a bit weird. And it's just another thing, like the Wrestle Kingdom match for these titles, the booking just seems a bit weird and backwards.
Yeah. Marcus, what do you think of this?
I gotta agree. I mean, you're building something with LIJ and you want to keep that, you got the momentum of LIJ. I agree with you guys 100%. I mean, you're building the momentum with LIJ and, I mean, want to keep that momentum. I mean, obviously, I know they kind of had a rep of those belts right now that they kind of get hot potato around. I'm not necessarily a fan of that, so kind of would have been appreciated if, since they just changed hands to see it kind of, stay with LIJ, but obviously they have different plans, and like Alex, what I talked about earlier, they kind of tell them the story with, Tanahashi, kind of being a fallen ace, if you will. So we'll see what happens with that. Not the biggest fan of hot potato life with these belts.
No, I think I can agree with that. It does make them seem slightly worthless at times. But, we've had some good matches out of it, so hopefully this will improve. Funnily enough, just as I flicked on Cage Match to find the results from this match, here is their do you know this promo question from this page. Quote, unquote, this match will probably be the first 6-star internet match in the history of the business. And that was a promo between Alex Shelley and Kevin Nash 5 years ago. Well, there you go. Anyway, now we talked about the Never Openweight 6-man championship, which happened on New Year Dash, but that wasn't the big news from New Year Dash. Okay, on the previous match, Great Brash Heel, Juice Robinson and Katsuyori Shibata, along with Yuji Nagata, defeated Chaos, Hiroki Goto, Kazuchika Okada, Tomohiro Ishii, Toru Yano, and Will Ospreay. But at the end of the match, there came a return, and the return was of the Black Veil, Minoru Suzuki, leader of Suzuki Gun, and all the boys were in town. They came down and beat down Chaos and challenged Okada in one of the most heated angles in Japanese pro wrestling, because Minoru Suzuki is just a heated man. Or more to the point, a hated man. And we'll get to more of what Minoru Suzuki is in a moment, but what did you think of this, Alex Watt?
We kind of on the previous show, we hope this is when Suzuki Gun get back in the fold. And it was just everything needed to be really came in. They smashed everyone's basically, and it looked, they looked dangerous and dominant. And Suzuki obviously immediately challenging Okada for the belt. It sets, a new, the new direction going into 2017. It's exciting, Okada and Suzuki is an exciting product, and we touched on it with Killer Elite Squad being back in that tag division should freshen that up even more when, that's
the heavyweight tag division's on like a real roll at the moment. I think having them back is going to be really exciting as well. So it's just, yeah, again, just everything it needed to be to keep the momentum going in 2017, basically, and set up some new exciting storylines going forward for New Japan.
Yeah, Marcus Green, what do you think of this? Is Minoru Suzuki just the spark they need in New Japan right now?
It feels like it. I mean, obviously, one of the toughest SOBs they have. Obviously, me being a fan of Chaos, never necessarily excited to see that group get beat down, but I mean, it definitely sets up some great stuff coming for the year, and obviously coming off of Wrestle Kingdom. It's an immediate competition. It was going right now. So he deserves the break. I think, like I said, Suzuki carries a lot of weight with himself, and it'll be fun to see exactly what happens.
Yeah. Alex Edwards, what do you think of this?
I think this is exactly what the company needs for this year. So you've closed the book on the last chapter of Bullet Club and LIJ sort of rising to prominence and becoming dominant heel sort of factions in the company. Wrestle Kingdom sort of finished that off for now, and then you have Suzuki going to come in, take over, and become the big new threat. I think it's going to do wonders for that tag division, the heavyweight tag division, having another dominant tag team in there. It's going to do wonders for the junior tag team division with Taka Michinoku and Taichi in there. You've obviously got Suzuki challenging Okada for the heavyweight championship, which I think is going to be a fantastic, hopefully a few matches. I guess we'll see where they go with that. I'm really excited to see sort of what happens with this in the next year.
Yeah, because a lot of you listen to this show may not be that familiar with Minoru Suzuki. Because he hasn't been in New Japan for more or less 2 years. 2 years ago, Suzuki going decamped to Noah on this very day when we were recording this. They turned up at a Noah show, beat the hell out of everybody in much the same style as they did at New Year Dash, and dominated the promotion for 2 years. So Minoru Suzuki's coming back is possibly, to quite a few of you who've been listening to this show for maybe a year or so, maybe a guy you're not familiar with, but you should be familiar with him. Me and Alex used to joke about Naito being no fucks Naito. Minoru Suzuki gives less f***s than Tetsuya Naito ever did. He is the darkest of dark characters in Japanese wrestling. He is, well, his nickname is the man with the worst personality in the world. He genuinely is horrible. Not as in real life. Apparently he's quite a nice bloke from what I understand. However, his character genuinely does not care. The only thing he cares about is winning matches and beating people. And beating people in an impressive fashion.
You even saw it at New Year's Dash, where you have the faction come out first and do the big beatdown, then he comes out, hands in his pockets, walking down with that look on his face, steps into the ring, just puts his foot on Okada's face as he cuts his promo. It's just like, what a dick.
Yeah, and he picked up. I think he picked up the Okada money, the Rainmaker dollars. And he said, the Rainmaker dollars, like everything else in pro wrestling, it's fake, but I'm not. And so, he's just so good. And he's nearly 50. I'd like to point that out. We talked about Goldberg going back to WWE at his age, but Suzuki's nearly 50, but he's just so good. And this is going to be so exciting for New Japan fans, and especially it probably lines up for New Beginning when all the new feuds will lay out. And also makes it very interesting for the New Japan Cup because you'll have a lot of Suzuki Gun guys in the New Japan Cup as well. So we'll see what happens with that. Then, after all this wrestling heaven we've had for the last few days, we had a few other things to wrap up in the wrestling business as well. The boss of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kadani, announced that he wanted New Japan Pro Wrestling to go into a more international direction in 2017. Essentially, he said that he wanted to challenge WWE for world dominance of professional wrestling. And this means something Alex has been talking about for around about 2 years now, but the war is genuinely on. And apparently the first shots were fired last year when Shinsuke Nakamura, Carl Anderson, and Doc Gallows, along with AJ Styles, signed for WWE. That was apparently the first shot in the war. And apparently New Japan has spent the best part of the last 12 months lining up all their ducks in a row so they can challenge WWE on an international basis. Now, it wasn't unheard of, but it was re-announced this weekend that they will be having matches for the G1 Climax tournament in the United States of America on the West Coast this year, which means an awful lot of travel time for the wrestlers involved in that. They are trying to push New Japan World to a much wider audience. They had 10,000 sign-ups, according to Steve Corino, over the Wrestle Kingdom weekend. They are doing great business, and we should really talk about the draw as well for this particular event, which was 26,000, which is an improvement on last year, but with comps and one thing or another, there was probably 40,000 people in the arena, which was a lot bigger crowd than we've had for a long time since Wrestle Kingdom 9, which was one of the biggest shows that they've done in recent memory. So, boys, we've got a lot of things going on with this. This is business at the high end, and if New Japan are thinking about taking on WWE directly, they've got a long way to go, but do you think they can do it? I'll start with Alex Watt on that.
I don't know if they can ever be the juggernaut that WWE are, but it's really interesting that they. I mean, I think maybe you read this. I read something that it's almost like them going actively into America is like revenge for what WWE did to them last year with taking Nakamura and AJ and everyone off of them. So yeah, it does seem like they're fully they're after them, and you've obviously got some interesting theories about the Ibushi stuff as well. Like, be interesting whether any of that is part of it, and Ibushi does end up re-signing with New Japan.
Yeah, that could be one of the stars that there would be a battle over for both of them, I think. So yeah, it's interesting. Alex Edwards, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, more of the same. I think I'm not sure that they'd be able to get to the same level as WWE worldwide, but I think they'll be able to do very well for themselves. I think they're already established as sort of the number one wrestling company in Japan, and I think they have a better shot than WWE at sort of expanding across Asia, so sort of China, Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, all those sorts of places. I think they have a very good shot of becoming sort of the major wrestling company for that area of the world. And their US expansion is, as you said, they've got a couple of G1 shows in Long Beach later this year, which it'll be interesting to see how they do with those. I wouldn't be surprised to see them sort of load up on a lot of American talent to sort of bring in local fans and get them interested. But I think there'll be good shows at least. New Japan World is, as you said, they got 10,000 new sign-ups over sort of Wrestle Kingdom week, which I think, I can't remember the exact percentage, but I think a decent amount of them were sort of international, and it brings them up to, I think, about 60,000 subscribers worldwide, which obviously it doesn't compare to the WWE network yet, but it's really good for them as a company to be able to basically get a whole sixth of their business in a week. It's good numbers. And yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting year for the company where they are taking this sort of international expansion so much more seriously now. You even saw at Wrestle Kingdom the promo for the main event with Omega and Okada was subtitled in English, which if that's something they could do for everything going forward, it would be fantastic. I think it probably just needs a bit more of sort of a dedicated sort of English speaking staff to do that. I'm not sure where I heard it, but I think I heard something about them opening an American office. I don't know if I dreamt that or something.
They've had American offices before because they had the dojo in LA and the American office was based there.
Right, okay. So if that's something they could go back to and have sort of a dedicated English language staff there who did sort of, translate things and distribute things in the Western world, I think that would be a really great step. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do.
Marcus, what's your thoughts on New Japan going into 2017 and what you're looking forward to? And do you think they too could break the dominance of Vince McMahon?
I don't, I gotta agree with both Alexes. I don't know in terms of on that global level, but they damn sure got them beaten from bell to bell. I tell you that. Um, as far as what I'm looking forward to, just the continued expansion. Obviously, great news that they're bringing the G1 over here. I mean, it's the great part of the greatest tournament in all of wrestling. So, for them to do that is just really like Alex said, them committing to this kind of international expansion, and obviously the G1 is always fantastic on every level. So that's gonna be great. Obviously, like you said, James, it's gonna be a lot of travel for those stars, but I think it's gonna be well worth it, of course. But I just think it's just continued growth for New Japan. Obviously, long term, I don't know if they could just reach that insane global level that the maniacal Meek Mon has reached. But they're giving it a hell of a try. And like I said, from bell to bell, I don't know if there's anyone that really touches them. So I think they've really bounced back well from that essential WWE raid earlier last year. So it's just looking forward to everything. And they got off, like we said, Wrestle Kingdom kind of was like the turning of a page, and obviously New Year's Dash was starting that new chapter and kicking off just a couple previews of what we're going to see. So I fully expect some great things from New Japan as always.
Yeah, one of the things that strikes me about New Japan's advantage, and it's something Chelsea brought up on the Shoulders Up Twitter account the other day, was their demographic is so completely different to WWE. When you look at their shows, there's so many more women, and there is so many more middle class and upper class people at their shows, because they never had it's working class wrestling thing in Japan, but they didn't, because it's a sport and everybody went. So they never got that dictomy of, well, only stupid people watch wrestling, because they don't. Very smart people watch wrestling in Japan. Not that stupid people watch wrestling anywhere else. But, that dictomy has never been there. So therefore, they have a chance of presenting it as a much more wider, exciting product to a lot more people. And there's, that's something that's very interesting for me. Also announced this week was Kenny Omega by himself tweeting that he's going to take a break from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's cleared his schedule. He isn't working in Japan for the next couple of months, won't be around for New Beginnings, presumably won't be around for the New Japan Cup. So, well, there's been a lot of conjecture, and we conjectured quite an awful lot in our little Twitter group where we do all our pre-production for the show, which could be anything from he's really knackered, to he's renegotiating his contract, to he's injured, because let's face it, taking a 15-foot bump through a table is not going to do you much good. Alex, what do you think of this is Kenny's situation, and can you speculate as to what the hell happens next?
I mean, we can speculate wildly. I'm sure we're going to now.
Let's do that. Yes.
Well, like a lot, there's a lot of it. Basically, again, set the internet abuzz, because it's like a lot of people like, does this mean he's going to WWE? Which I would be shocked by, considering all the stuff he said in the lead up to the Wrestle Kingdom match of wanting to be the legend who never worked for WWE, of saying, he doesn't necessarily agree with their vision of pro wrestling. And he tweeted after the match at Wrestle Kingdom that was like the greatest stage for him to show his own vision of what wrestling should be. And if that's the vision of wrestling, I'd say it's a pretty bloody good one as well. So I think our speculation was more like, is this a work to an extent? Is he gonna? Because I imagine there is an aspect of it that will be him taking time off to heal up after that match, be it injuries or just, being knackered and sore, which I'm sure he is, and not wanting to hammer out the same kind of schedule as he was last year. And it could be, my thinking would be, or my hope would be, that he's going to take a couple of months out and return for the New Japan Cup. And it's going to be like the big shock that he returns for that and probably wins the whole thing. Wow. Because there's no need for him to be there at the moment anyway, with the Suzuki gun coming back, and Suzuki's, we assume, going to get the title shot at New Begins. So they're telling a new story with the IWGP title for the time being. So while that plays out, Omega takes a bit of time off and comes back in a few months. And kickstarts the rivalry with Okada again, or maybe Suzuki if Suzuki ends up winning the title. That would be my hope anyway, rather than him now just going to NXT, which I feel like he's probably tied into a contract which prohibits that anyway, I would imagine.
Alex Edwards, what are your thoughts on this?
I'll say first, I think it is a combination, as Alex said, of him wanting to take some time off to heal up and a work. I think now is the perfect time for someone like him to take some time off with Suzuki Gun coming in, and there's no real need for him right now because they've already got their main event storyline covered. My thinking is, let me lay out a little plan. So you have Omega goes away now, and you have Suzuki challenge Okada for the title. Maybe he doesn't win it at New Beginnings, but I'm thinking maybe like Sakura Genesis in April, he wins the title there, and Suzuki holds the title throughout, I don't know, let's say going through the G1, and we get to just after the G1.
So King of Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, and you have Kenny returns, challenges for the title. He returns as a babyface and challenges for the title, saying something along the lines of, I had this match where I wanted to revolutionize like this company, and what you're doing isn't true New Japan Pro Wrestling. I am true New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I'm taking that title. And he beats Suzuki for the title. In the meantime, Okada has won the G1, and you have the Tokyo Dome match next year as Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada 2, but with Kenny as the champion.
Yeah, and then you could have Kenny win that one with the One Wing Angel, and you've got Okada's redemption story the next year where he has to go back and win the G1, so that writes Wrestle Kingdom 13.
Yes,
yeah.
But something else I'll add to it is, in the meantime, Okada has turned heel since losing the title. And so it's a babyface Kenny against the heel Okada to completely flip the match we had this year. There
has been thought, and a lot of the guys on the Voices of Wrestling Twitter and Facebook website have been talking about the odds of the actual big money is in Naito Okada, and the longer they can keep them apart within reason, the better off they're going to be in the long run. Mm-hmm. So that it would make sense to tie up Okada with Suzuki Gun and with Kenny Omega for at least another year. However you do that, so that because you don't want Naito getting to the top that quickly, because there's money in the chase for Naito. There isn't money in the chase for Okada. He's already been there and done that. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Marcus, what are your thoughts on this?
I agree with you guys. Combination of things with Omega, obviously time off is well deserved. But also, I definitely don't want to see him anywhere with New Japan because, and I'm going to say this, WWE, you guys don't deserve him. To be quite honest, I just think I think the time off is going to obviously do him well, both physically and in terms of storyline wise. Because like you said, Suzuki's coming in, one of the meanest SOBs is going, and it leaves some space for him to come back and go after Okada. Okada again. So I just think it's a little bit of both. Obviously, Omega's great at that stuff. But I don't think he's going to, like Alex said, I don't think he's going to go to WWE with everything that he said, and he shouldn't, because, for him to set that lane that he talked about setting up, he can't be boxed in, and you're going to be boxed in on WWE whether you, however good you are or not. So, looking forward to nothing but great stuff from Omega when he returns 100% healed, because, just that match alone, took that bump card to insane levels, so.
Yeah. I mean, you just couldn't have a 45-minute main event in WWE. It just couldn't be done. You've got too much talent supporting the places. You've got too many stories to tell, and that's no knock on WWE. They just physically can't do that. It's just not. With a more tighter and more compact roster, you can do a lot more in length of matches. And have more matches, which is what they did. Okay, to finish off today's episode on a lighter note, it was sort of. It was announced. It was announced this week. The Dixie Guards would be leaving TNA, yes, and that Anthem had fully taken over. And then they did the new episode on Thursday in the States and unveiled perhaps the worst wrestling logo of all time, because it's hideous. It is. it's vile.
It's awful.
Oh God. Alex, what are your thoughts on Dixie leaving TNA and the new management of the company?
I think it's going to be interesting. Anyway, like, I think, under Dixie Carter, they always had the money in there, but the issue was, not to dig at it too much, but I don't think she understood wrestling that well. So there was, like, a lot of the weird decisions seemed to always filter back to that. So I don't know. I would hope this means exciting things for, like, where the company can go in 2017, but I don't know how much faith I have, particularly after that bloody logo is so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, it didn't instill me the faith in me to invest $5.99 a month in watching their show at the moment. Hopefully that will improve, because that's the other thing, is like we can't see this stuff anymore, and the British market has been so important to them down the years. Does anyone know if they're touring the UK this year, or they're not bothering?
I don't know.
I haven't heard anything.
I don't think they're touring anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is really bad, because that has been a major income feed for them for a long, long time. Marcus, you are our resident TNA expert. Lead us through this garden of deceit. Was the show any good? Because we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, solid show, some good stuff. And they followed it up with that one night on the pay-per-view, which I thought was really good. So the in-ring product is some great stuff. As they've improved over these last couple of years that we talked about before. Obviously, in terms of the logo, 100% agree with you guys. It sucks. But it's about damn time they got called out of there with everything that's kind of been switched over back and forth the years, jumping networks, jumping nights of the week. She's been the constant. So, kicking her out of there once of all, it definitely switches up the momentum. And obviously, with this new regime change, we're going to see exactly, what gets done. Hopefully that logo is the last horrible thing we have to see. But hopefully everything kind of smooths out behind the scenes and gets kind of regulated, as that's kind of been their problem most all. But it feels like it's cool in terms of what we're getting in-ring product-wise. Now, there's a thing coming off of the show, because obviously we got some things with Spud, which doesn't necessarily please me. I mean, of course, we tried everything we could to get him to the top of the mountain.
We did, but, damn it. We did.
Yeah, we did everything we could. But,
we started a campaign and everything. We got Bill Apter on our side. That's how good we were. Sorry, carry on.
We push people around here. but yeah, I mean, obviously, wrestlers come and go. That's just the nature of the business. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with this. Again, TNA, another opportunity. They live again. And hopefully they won't be in dire straits of dying anytime soon. So hopefully this is the last time that they will have to be saved by their unseen angel again.
Yeah.
But it sucks for the UK fans, because, like you said, that was one of the biggest markets for so long. But the UK scene in itself has been blowing up in such a big way that I think them dropping the UK couldn't have come at a worse time. So,
yep, and we'll be talking next week's episode about British wrestling and the WWE British Championship. But Alex Edwards, we haven't talked to you about this. A new regime, as Marcus said, but really the rumour mill's floating around it being an old regime with Jeff Jarrett and Dutch Mantel coming back. What are your thoughts on TNA?
Yeah, so TNA's a weird one. Like, I think I'm one of the many fans that has been burned too many times by TNA, where I just, whatever they do, I just can't trust them to do it right. It's just, I've given them so many chances in the past, and every time they've messed it up somehow. And while it is a positive thing that Dixie Carter is gone, I mean, I think she's still a minority stakeholder, isn't she? She just doesn't have any power, like creative-wise or business-wise or anything like that. So, yeah. It's a great thing that she's gone, because, as Marcus said, she was the sort of the constant whenever something went wrong. But I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where I think the brand is so damaged after these past, going on 15 years, that I'm not sure if there's anything they can really do to redeem it. I think their roster is great. they've got a lot of really good talent, and Jeff Jarrett and Dutch Mantel coming back. I think Dutch Mantel is a good sort of creative mind. I think Jeff Jarrett can be good when he's not booking himself. So,
which he wouldn't do. I think that'd probably be the first thing if you're going to hire Jeff Jarrett back. It's like, you're not longer going to be wrestling, are you? Because to be honest with you, I think they had to persuade when he came back to do the King of the Mountain thing for the Hall of Fame. They had to persuade him to do it.
Yeah. So I think that could be a positive. I mean, I'd really, really like to see TNA succeed. I really would, but it's just one of those things where there's been so many times that they've almost gone out of business and they've managed to claw it back, and everyone was really positive that, they're going to do it differently this time. They're going to do it, and they didn't. And I can't help but think that this is just another one of those times where things look positive, but in 6 months' time, we're just going to be talking about regular old TNA still doing their thing, and it looks like they're going to go out of business again.
Well, hopefully they won't. Hopefully they won't. So, yeah. It's interesting times in TNA, but certainly very interesting times for New Japan Pro Wrestling and the wrestling scene worldwide. And we kind of looked at this as a week of things that have gone on since last Saturday to today in this taping. And it's taken us 2 hours to go through all the things that happened in the last 7 days. But this has been our Wrestle Kingdom 11 special, and I'd like to thank everybody for listening today, and I'd like to thank you guys for joining me. So thank you very much, Mr. Alex Watt, or Alex Watt 187 on Twitter, of the BBC.
Yes. Yeah, as of, the day this airs. Yeah, thank you very much for having me, as always.
All right, and Mr. Alex_Edwards_, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
And, of course, the Paradox Kid himself, Marcus Green, thank you very much for your time, too.
No, thank you. Great time talking with this great show about with you guys.
In the next week's show, we are going to go to the WWE British Heavyweight Championship Tournament, which will be in Blackpool fairly soon. But we're going to have a bit of a look at the British wrestling scene in general. And then the next week after that, we'll probably be back to our Beginner's Guide to Japan, because we haven't done that in ages. And we all enjoy doing that, but we just haven't had time, because the wrestling business has just been moving so quickly as of late that we don't have time to go back and look at the past. But we will, for you, because we want to finish off the Beginner's Guide and move on to the next chapter. So thank you very much for your time today. Please do listen to the rest of the Wrestle Talk Podcast Network, and please do subscribe to Wrestle Plus. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for listening. Take care.